Let's talk about isometric training. What exactly is isometric training? Well, you have dynamic training and you have isometric training. Dynamic means in motion. For example, if you're grabbing a pair of dumbbells and you go like this and you're doing biceps curls, and make sure you have good form, make sure your upper arm is tight to your side, that is a dynamic range of motion. If you're doing a bench press and you're going back and forth like this, if you're doing pull-ups, if you're doing lat pull downs, if you're doing squats and you're going back and forth, that is dynamic. Isometric is when you hold your joint in a fixed position for an extended period of time. The muscle gets contracted and it just sits there. That's all there is to it. For example, a common exercise that you're probably familiar with is the plank. So we come into a plank position on our hands and feet, like so, and we simply just hold this position. So if we're doing a push-up, we're coming down and we're coming back up like this. That is a full range of motion. That is a dynamic movement. So just know the difference. When you're holding a plank, you're static and you're doing an isometric contraction, mainly focusing on the abs. Now, fun thing you can do when you're doing a plank, while I'm here, I'm going to give you a quick 411 on a tip. So if you want to get a little more chest recruitment, come into your plank position and then take your hands and press them like this, inward, and feel your chest contracting, also known as the pectorals. And then hold that position when you do it. So if you've got a regular plank here, now squeeze your chest muscles in like this and squeeze the pulp out of your abs as well. And that's really going to enhance that exercise right there. And I'm getting a little ahead of myself here with this video tutorial, but I just want to give you that quick tip. So what are the benefits of isometric contractions and exercises? Well, because you're not going through a full range of motion, if you happen to have a joint issue or injury, say you have an elbow issue or injury that's flaring up and nagging, but you still want to get an arm workout, or you still want to get a chest workout or a back workout, but every time you bend your elbow back and forth like this, you're feeling pain here. Well, isometric exercises can come in handy in situations like that. So you can literally do what I started this video off with and grab a hold of your hands like this and clasp them, and then just push up this way and push down this way with each hand. Clasp them and then push down. Now see how my biceps on my right arm are contracting and that vein is popping out like a pencil right there? That's because I have a lot of intensity going on right there, and my heart rate is actually getting up. And I'm breathing pretty heavily. So you can do something like that. Triceps, you can just reverse it. Put this hand, push down. I'm sorry, the other way around. Push down with this hand and grab a hold of here, and then just push downward like this and contract your triceps and keep your elbow in tight to your rib cage. So look at my triceps. It's flaccid right now and it's non-contracted. Now I'm going to push down. See how it contracts? And I'm holding and I'm pushing down just like that. Okay, those are two quick examples. So studies have actually been done on isometric contractions, and what the research is saying is you can build a good amount of strength and even size and muscle volume by just doing isometric contractions. So another benefit of that is, let's say you're traveling and you have zero access to equipment and you want to get a good workout. Now, if you don't have an encyclopedia of exercise in your head, a lot of people don't, and you can't get super creative, you can resort to isometric exercises. You just have to focus on what muscle groups do I want to work and how do I hit them. Your chest, you want to hit it? You can do that exercise I just showed you. Your abs, you want to hit them? You can do the plank exercise I just showed you. You can sit on your butt, raise your legs up in the air and do a bolt pose, and you're working your abs right now. Chest, you can also go like this and clasp your hands together and press inward like this and squeeze the pulp out of your pecs. Okay? When I was doing both of my physique competitions, my most recent ones, in the back, before you go out, you bring resistance bands with you, and you resort to doing a bunch of resistance band exercises, bodyweight exercises, and stuff like that before you go out on stage to get one final pump. But you can also resort to isometric exercises, which I really weighed heavily upon to get my final pump before I went on stage, especially when I was standing in line waiting to literally walk on stage. Everyone was in line going like this, and they're going like this, and they're squeezing their chest and their back and everything else in between. So you can do pretty much all your muscle groups from standing in one position, just like this. Also, research has shown that isometric training is just as good for strengthening cartilage and connective tissue and joints and ligaments as dynamic movements as well. So there's another benefit you have. And an even better benefit than that is the fact that repetitive motion of the joints over time, especially with heavy weights, can take its toll on the joints and cause them to degrade over time. But if you're just simply holding a fixed contraction for a long period of time, you're not going to have that same effect, so you're going to keep your joints in better shape too. And lastly, if you're rehabbing from an injury, this is kind of ancillary to what I was saying earlier, isometric exercises come in handy in that position as well. So let's say you had knee surgery a while ago. You were skiing, you jacked up your knee, you got surgery, you went through rehab, now you've been cleared to exercise again. Probably, if you go through PT, they're going to have you doing some form of isometric exercises. But if you get to the level where you ran out of PT sessions and you're off to your own devices and you want to start training again, you can start working on your legs. And one of the easiest ways to do that is the wall sit. So you just come against the wall like this and you hold yourself in position like this. Okay? Now, one of the keys with isometric training, and this is the take-home message, I don't want you to forget this. You want to do the exercises in different positions. So for example, you've got the wall sit right here. Now the ideal position is a 90-degree bend in your knees where your thighs are parallel to the ground and your shins are vertical. Okay? However, when you're holding only this one position, you're only going to build strength and size in that position. So the same thing applies for every isometric exercise you do. So if you're doing that biceps curl and you're going like this and you're herking up and you're watching yourself in the mirror, that's great. But what you want to do is activate different ranges of motion inside the isometric spectrum that you're going with. So what I mean by that is this is a great position here, but then you want to move your arm to here and hold your isometric contraction. And then have your arm almost fully extended and hold it. Have your arm here, have your arm here. So you see what I'm getting at? You want to go through a bunch of different points. If you're doing squats, start right here, hold this position, go a little lower, hold this position, go a little lower, hold this position, and come up with 5 or 6 different positions for every single joint that you have, accompanied with the muscle group that you're working. So keep that in mind. That's very critically important because then you're going to get the whole muscle involved. And I like to use this stability ball here too. So a good way you can work your chest is by simply holding on to it like this, and then either making fists or keeping your hands straight, and then squeezing like this. Squeezing this thing to a pulp. And then what you can do here is you can move it in different angles. You can move it down, move it up to here, move it up to here, move it up to here, and just keep trucking. And I'm going through these holds pretty fast. I don't want you to rush through your isometric contractions. In fact, hold them for a minimum of 5 seconds, and you can go all the way up to 30 seconds or 45 or 60, and just keep on getting longer the stronger you become, okay? You could also use this stability ball as a prop for the wall squat. So now your back is being pressed against the ball, and then you can go into your holds here and go lower and go lower. Just make sure that you're not doing anything stupid like leaning forward or kicking your hips out like this. Keep your back nice and vertical here, okay? So you have all that to work with as well. Another thing is, I am huffing and puffing. 1, because I'm talking, 2, because I'm exercising. So isometric contractions will get your heart rate up too, just know that. All right, you can also add load. Good old friend to kettlebell here. You guys know how much I love kettlebells. You can take your toes and turn them out, hold your kettlebell in, and we're doing goblet squats. But we're not just doing bodyweight goblet squats, we're now holding a load. And we're coming lower, and we're coming lower, and then we're gonna hold. And take big deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose. Whew. Woo! I held that for about 5 seconds, and I'll tell you what, I felt it. So to make it a little more easy for you to understand, you can do exercises that are isometric with the additional weights too. So then you can take dumbbells and do your bicep curls, lift to here and hold. Then you can lift to here and hold. Then you can lift to here and hold. And follow those same progressive steps. Up, down, and then park them. You might find out that if you're holding a 30-second contraction here, and you go right to this one and do 30, and right to this one and do 30, and come up with 5 positions, and go all the way back down and follow those same positions, you might be finished. That might be all you need. So keep that in mind as well when you're doing your isometric training. So anyway, I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. Just know that isometric exercises are just as good as dynamic. You can add load to them. You want to hold them for a minimum of 5 seconds and go all the way up to 30 and keep on trucking. You can use apparatuses like a stability ball. You can use body weight. If you're going to do the push-up drill, come into here. You can just hold the plank. Then you can squeeze your hands inward and then slowly lower yourself down to different positions. Like this. And then you're hitting your triceps too, and your chest, and your shoulders. For the back, an exercise I like to do is clasp the hands, take your elbows and flare them out, and then push your elbows down and engage those lats. Let's see if you can see my back muscles. Right now I'm doing nothing. Now I just can engage my lats, and I'm squeezing my hands together. I'm using them as a leverage point, and I'm coming down, and I'm squeezing. Okay? I know I'm kind of all over the place like a Quentin Tarantino movie right now, but I wanted to make sure that I reviewed all the key points. So just know, isometric exercises do have a time and place. They are good in a rehabilitative setting. They can build strength and size. They can be used if you're a competitor like I am, and you need zero space to do them. I mean, you literally need this much space. And you can work every single muscle group. You just have to get creative. Okay? So give those all a spin. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I'm thinking it's only adequate that I finish with a double bicep isometric gun pose.